Welcome back everybody to the Cub Cadet 1600 Plow Tractor Build Series. This is going to be episode 6, I'm pretty sure. Episode 6, and in today's video, we're going to go over a couple easy things. The main one is going to be how to remove a stubborn old steering wheel without completely mangling it. And in that process, we're going to remove this old wheel. We will be replacing it with a later styled wheel. This wheel right here. This is from a later Quiet Line tractor or an 82 series. They use this little center cap. Just pretty cool. Very 80s styling, typical IH stuff. Actually, this would be late 70s, but still very cool. I really like this style of wheel, and honestly, I just kind of want to do something different since I'm kind of going for a mini tractor look on this guy. The easiest way that I have found to remove these wheels was taught to me by my buddy John Bolins. I know it's an older trick that's been around for quite a while. It's nothing really new. Man, does it work very, very well. And I've seen it work in person many times. So I'm going to show you how to do it today. And all you're going to need is something to remove your steering wheel nut. This is a 15/16. I'm just going to use a 1/2 inch impact because it's just easier than using a ratchet and trying to fight this thing. You want to make sure that you have your wheel turned roughly to center and your wheels are straight-ish. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but when you install the new wheel, you want to make sure that it's, fairly straight to make sure it's lined up. Aside from the impact and the 15/16 socket or ratchet, whichever you prefer, to take this nut off, you're going to need a 5/16 diameter bolt with a 1/2 inch head on it, because that's what you're going to actually be hammering against. And then that guy right there, if you don't have an air hammer, I would highly suggest going to Harbor Freight and picking up a cheap one if you're going to do this a few times, because it just makes it so much easier than using a manual hammer. I mean, with this being kind of sunk in, kind of dished, you can't really get a hammer in here without screwing up the wheel. So the air hammer makes it infinitely easier. This is also done much easier if the fenders and the seat are on the tractor, because you're able to sit on the seat and sort of put your knees underneath the steering wheel and pull up as you're hammering on it, and they usually just pop right off. Even ones that are super stuck, I mean, they will just come right off. So with that, we're going to go ahead and loosen this nut with our impact real quick, and we don't want to take it all the way off. Okay, just want to loosen it. All right, so now it's loose. So now our wheel has room between the landing surface in there as well as the nut to come up. This is where you can kind of test it to see if it's loose, and this one is obviously not. And now's when our little friend, the 5/16 bolt, comes in. So you just drop this in the center of the hole there, and as you can see, the head of it is sticking up higher than the nut. Hopefully you guys can see that. The head of the bolt is sticking up just above the nut that holds the steering wheel to the steering column. Now all you do is apply outward pressure to your steering wheel and brap it a few times with your air hammer, and it should come right off. So let's test that out. So I'm going to sort of put my knee underneath it on this side since I don't have the tins on, and we're just going to give it a shot. So let's see. Okay, this probably looks extremely sketchy, and that's because it is.
Shake hands with danger.
But that's how we roll. I mean, we had to figure out something without putting the tins on it. I had to have some sort of upward pressure. A $2 Harbor Freight ratchet strap and my chain fall hoist at an angle should do the job. We'll see how this goes. Right there, pop loose. Hopefully the camera caught that. Because that actually, man, that looks stupid, but it worked. Really need to invest in some web slings. For the time being, Harbor Freight's finest, cheapest Chinesium ratchet straps will get the job done. So since that's loose, we should be able to take this nut all the way off. And if this worked, right there, it worked. Those splines are absolutely filthy, and that's why this was so stuck. They're just water and rust get on these splines and the wheel gets stuck. But hey, there you go. That's how you remove a very stuck steering wheel on a Cub Cadet. And that'll really work on any model as long as you're able to put a bolt head. You do not want to use the air hammer directly on this surface because you will just mushroom it and you'll ruin the threads. If you leave that nut on there, just back it off about a half a turn, quarter turn, put that bolt right in the hole, and then just brap it with the air hammer like that while applying upward pressure. They pop right off, even the most stuck ones. So it also never hurts to soak them in some sort of penetrant, Croil, PB, blaster, whatever your preferred flavor is. And then obviously installation is just taking the wheel you want to use and shoving it on there. We're not going to do that. The other thing we're going to do is clean up these splines with a wire wheel and then put anti-seize on it so that never happens again. So we're not going to put the wheel on just yet because we have some things that we are going to do to this dash. The main one, and the reason I have the wheel off, aside from swapping it, is because I want to put in a brand 3-gang rocker switch panel. So as you can see right here, we've got these sets of rocker switches. There's 3 of them. I just took them out of the panel. That way I could easily put this guy on our dash. It's going to fit just like that. And I think I'm going to kind of use that hole right there as a sort of centering mark. But we'll get this thing square, mark out the holes in the corners, drill those, and then I'll have to take a cut-off wheel and actually cut a square out of the tin. And there is a metal plate underneath this. We're just going to cut completely through it and mount this here, because if this were a hydrostat, you'd have your hydro channel for your lever right here. Since it's a gear drive, this is just blank. There actually shouldn't even be a hole there. Someone's punched that through there, but behind this tin there is a cutout in the dash for your hydro lever, so we are going to have to cut through that actual piece of steel. But this piece of tin itself, super thin, super easy to cut through. I'm going to go ahead and get that laid out and get the hole cut, and then I will be back with you guys when I have it installed.
If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation.
Well, frick. Well, I can honestly say I've never had that happen before. The screw just flew out of my Dremel cutoff tool, so cool! Guess I'm not using this anymore until I find that little bitty screw, which will be so easy. Amazing. Big cutoff wheel it is. Well, if nothing else, folks, we learned a lesson. And that lesson is, that's exactly why you wear PPE when you do this, because that wouldn't have felt very good hitting me in the face, or the eyes, or anything. Wear your freaking safety glasses. Yeah, a little wide. That's all right. It's fine. We're not going for a show machine here. So now we can kind of see what we're working with here, and I think, oh, yeah, fiberglass can come out. Good and itchy. Well, I'm gonna see if I can't take a hammer and get those out of the way. It's kind of unfortunate. I do have to cut a little bit deeper into this dash than I'd like to, but it's fine. It worked just the same. I mean, if it was really that big of a problem, I've got, I don't know, I've probably got more of these dash tins than I can even count. And I can count to 5. That do it? Yeah. Does anybody know what it means to Wang Chung tonight? Let's see how detrimentally bad this is going to look when the cover's on. Oh, man, if it wasn't for those two little bitty spots, this thing would look, you'd never even know. That's good enough. Oh, yeah. Like a freaking glove. Beautiful. Gonna pull this out, drill our holes. Actually, you know what? I'll just use it as a drill guide. Gravity. Okay. That's installed. Okay, so since we got our switch panel installed, we're gonna go ahead and take our new used steering wheel and we are going to install it. Just gonna gently sort of wiggle it onto the splines. I went ahead and wire wheeled those off camera and applied a liberal amount of anti-seize. That's on there. Go ahead and take our 15/16 nut. You don't want to go too crazy because you'll just bust the wheel into a million pieces. And we'll take our center cap. There we go. That is a later steering wheel installed on an earlier quiet line. And yes, there is a considerable amount of play in that, but it'll be fine. This thing don't need to steer. That's what the front tires are for. They just keep you in the furrow when you're plowing. This thing is gonna be just fine with that much play in the steering. There is a little bit of duct tape residue on here from some contraption that the previous owner had rigged up with a broom handle that was cut down and it was duct tape. I don't know. Gotta get some goof off or something to get that off of there, but otherwise, good to go. Now that we went ahead and we got our later style steering wheel put on, which honestly, man, that thing looks awesome. We also got our 3-gang rocker switch panel installed. That looks pretty good, and I think that's going to work out very well. That looks better to me than having a bunch of random hardware store toggle switches everywhere. I'm not going to wire that just yet. I'm pretty much just waiting for the rear tins to get put on this thing. I thought I had a set. Turns out I don't. Somehow I have managed to scrap every set of wide frame fenders I have. I had a set that I thought were wide frame fenders. Turns out they're not. They are for a 127 or 147. I only realized that after I fought trying to put them on this for about 10 minutes, so that's unfortunate, but I will be able to get a pair of fenders for this fairly soon, hopefully. We'll just keep on rolling. With talking about the lighting, I figure I may as well just go ahead and give you guys a preview of what we're going to be doing to this thing. I got these taillights off Amazon. They are New Sun brand. Never heard of them, but these things are stupid bright. They're 2" by 4" utility lights, just for a trailer or whatever, marker lights. But man, they're bright, and I don't know exactly why. I don't know if it's this diffuser thing in the middle, but God, they're bright. So pretty excited to use those and put those on. I bought another set to probably put on Cannonball at some point as well. These massive things here are our rear work lights. They were a little bigger than I anticipated them being. They'll work just fine. As a matter of fact, they're actually probably going to work a little too well. I'm probably going to have to be the last person plowing so I don't blind the people behind me. And then up here, we've got some really, really stupid bright headlights for it. On top of all of that, I've got bags of 3/4" LED marker lights. I guess some people will call them chicken lights, but I've got red, amber, and white. We're going to go crazy with those too, and this thing, I'm telling you, you're going to be able to see it from the International Space Station. It is going to look awesome for nighttime plowing, and I have still yet to decide what kind of strobes I want to do on this. I do want to put a 4-corner strobes or maybe a beacon on the hood or something funny. I don't know. I've yet to figure that out, but I did put a beacon switch on this, if you can see, well, strobe light, but running lights is going to control all of our 3/4 inch lights, the little round ones, and I'm probably going to do some red in the rear, maybe some amber underneath or along the sides, or maybe on the front, and then do some white underneath for like underglow, I guess. And then I've also got spotlight switch in the middle, which is going to control our rear work lights. And then I am going to install a stock or aftermarket, I don't know, just a light switch down here just to run the headlights and taillights on the stock factory harness, because I do want to be able to use every set of lights independently. I don't want to have them all on at once. So I want to be able to turn them on independently of each other. So that's why I'm wiring it that way, and that's why I went with that switch panel. All right, what's next? Well, believe it or not, I'm pulling this engine, and you guys are going to find out soon enough why if you keep up on the community tab where I post occasionally, kind of giving sneak peeks for newer videos and stuff. You would know that we have a partnership on the way. With that partnership, we're not going to need this thing anymore. Huge news coming. So that's really exciting, and I'm dying for it to be Friday because I get to go interact with our new sponsor, pick up some things that are really going to change this build drastically, and it's going to just be awesome. I'm going to go ahead and just pull this engine out, even though we spent all that time mounting it and bulletproofing it in a way. But hey, I got a good 16 horse. I know it runs good. It's got a good engine cradle, solid engine mounts. Heck, it's ready to drop in anything. So that's not a bad thing. We don't need it anymore. Let's go ahead and get this thing pulled out. Real quick before we pull this engine, I actually did want to go over something I did off camera that may be interesting to some of you. The stock clutch hangers are known to flex if you have a stiffer spring. They'll sort of pivot back and forth. This one has a little bit of flex, but it's really not that bad. If you remember in the clutch video, I said that the original hinge pin, hanger pin, whatever you want to call it, was in pretty rough shape, and it was. I ordered one. It was a new old stock one. It actually came in a Cub Cadet bag, even though it's just a Clevis pin. Ordered a brand new pin, went ahead and installed that, and on top of that, I went ahead and drilled out the holes that it rides in because they were sort of oblonged. Drilled those out to a 1/2 inch, and I put in some 1/2 inch OD, 3/8 ID, bronze flanged bushings. That way, this pin is contacting the bronze bushings rather than metal on metal. I mean, it is still metal on metal, but it's not steel on steel. It's steel on bronze, and bronze is meant to be a wear item. That should significantly increase the lifespan of our clutch hanger here. Should have been a stock thing, but what do I know? And then I went ahead and just, because I had the hardware out, I went ahead and replaced both hanger bolts with grade 8 bolts and block washers. So pretty stout, pretty excited. All that's left to do today is really just pull the engine out. Got to get it ready for the new donor. Guys, this is going to be awesome. So make sure you're keeping an eye on the channel because, like I said, today is Tuesday the 27th. Friday, I'm going to meet with our new sponsor of the channel. Stay tuned for that because, like I said, it is just going to totally turn this build on its head, and it's going to be awesome. All right, enough jabbering. Let's get this engine out. All right, everybody, and with that, that's going to conclude today's video. The 16 horse is out, the motor cradle is out, and this thing's not going to be a 1600 anymore. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you guys think is going in this thing. If you're one of my buddies that I told you what's going in this, don't ruin it for everybody else. But still, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think I'm getting for this. And I am just like beyond excited, not only to do this, really take this build to the next level, but also to be working with our first sponsor on this channel. And I am just immensely grateful that not only are we getting sponsored, but it happened this fast. I mean, it's like perfect circumstances all across the board. board. Be sure you guys come back to see what we put in this thing. That'll be the next video that comes out. So keep an eye on the channel to see when that video comes out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing to keep up with the build series and see what comes next. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what you think I got for this to repower it. I will see you guys fairly soon with some new goodies for this.